My dear friends, before we begin, I invite you to slow down for just a moment. Take one gentle breath in, let your shoulders soften, and exhale whatever heaviness you've been carrying today. You've lived long enough to know that the world moves quickly, often too quickly, and it rarely stops to acknowledge the strength it takes to reach the age you are now. But here, in this space, I want you to feel recognized. You've weathered storms, made sacrifices, raised families, held responsibilities, and carried memories that younger generations can't yet imagine. Every line on your face carries a story. Every ache in your body carries history. And every lesson you've gathered along the way is part of the wisdom that makes you who you are. When I speak to you now, I'm not placing myself above you. I'm walking beside you, as someone who respects the path you've walked and the courage it took to keep moving. Aging is not a weakening. It's a refining. It strips away what doesn't matter and reveals what truly does. These later chapters of life aren't a decline. They're an awakening, a shift into deeper clarity about what deserves your heart, your time, and your peace. That's why today I want to share 8 truths that every senior should know. Not to create fear, but to offer guidance that protects your spirit and helps you walk forward without unnecessary pain. These truths become clearer as the years go on, but many people don't realize them until it's too late. My intention is to place them gently into your hands now so you can use them as tools, for empowerment, for clarity, for a life that feels lighter instead of heavier. The first truth is one that becomes incredibly important after the age of 60. You must be careful about who you trust. When you were young, trust was something you could give freely. If someone hurt you, you had time, energy, and resilience to rebuild yourself. But in your older years, trust becomes precious. Your heart is softer, your peace is more fragile, your resources more limited, and your emotional space more valuable. And because of that, the wrong person doesn't just hurt your feelings, they can disturb your stability, your confidence, or even your financial security. As you age, a strange thing happens. People who ignored you for years may suddenly reappear, speaking sweetly, acting helpful, even pretending to care deeply about your well-being. Sometimes the motives are pure, but often they're not. Some people are drawn not to your presence, but to your vulnerability. They may want your attention, your money, your help, or even just the comfort of knowing someone still cares about them. And while being generous with kindness is beautiful, being blind with trust can be dangerous. Your body often senses dishonesty before your mind does. You may notice a tightness in your chest when someone walks into the room, or an inexplicable discomfort after a conversation. You may feel drained, confused, pressured, or unsettled. These aren't trivial feelings. They are quiet warnings. Your intuition has spent decades developing itself. Now is the time to honor it. Trust should no longer be automatic. Let it be earned through consistency, sincerity, and respect. Surround yourself with those who bring calmness rather than tension, who give energy instead of draining it, and who respect your boundaries rather than pushing past them. Remember, loyalty is not owed simply because of shared blood or shared history. Loyalty belongs to those who honor your peace. This leads us gently into the second truth, one that becomes clearer with every passing year. Your health requires deeper awareness now than ever before. In youth, the body forgives quickly. You could skip sleep, eat whatever was convenient, push through exhaustion, and ignore discomfort without facing immediate consequences. But after 60, the body becomes a wise but fragile companion. It speaks more clearly, and every whisper matters. That small joint pain you try to shrug off, the slight shortness of breath, the sudden fatigue that you chalk up to age, these things are not annoyances. They are messages. Your body, after carrying you through decades of effort, stress, joy, and hardship, has earned the right to be listened to. It no longer hides warning signs behind layers of strength. Instead, it reveals them openly, hoping you will respond with care instead of dismissal. Rest is no longer optional. Nutrition is no longer something to take lightly. Movement is no longer just exercise, it is protection. Maintaining muscle, balance, posture, and healthy breathing becomes essential, not for vanity or performance, but to prevent suffering and preserve independence. Many elders believe that pushing through pain shows strength. But real strength at this stage of life is awareness. It's choosing to protect yourself before harm arrives, choosing rest before exhaustion breaks you, choosing gentle movement before stiffness limits you. A wise elder understands that health is not simply about adding years to life, but about lifting the burden those years can carry. When you care for your body with intention, you're not being cautious, you're being compassionate with yourself. The third truth reveals itself as life slows down. Emotional wounds become heavier as you age. Throughout your 20s, 30s, and 40s, you may have tucked away heartbreaks that felt too painful to address, buried disappointments because there was no time to process them, or carried anger because letting go felt too difficult. But something shifts in your 60s and 70s. When the body quiets, the mind finally has space to speak, and all those unhealed moments begin drifting back to the surface. This isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of readiness. Your heart wants closure. It wants understanding, softness, release. Holding on to resentment steals far more from you now than it ever did before. Bitterness consumes energy you need. Long-held grudges tighten your chest, disturb your sleep, and shadow your peace. Painful memories that you've replayed for years begin to feel heavier than your body can carry. Letting go doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened. It means loosening the emotional chain that has been pulling you backward, keeping you tied to moments that no longer deserve space in your present life. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about the freedom you reclaim. When you choose release, your breath becomes softer, your mind becomes clearer, and your spirit feels lighter. Emotional peace becomes one of the greatest medicines for long life. A heart unburdened by past pain beats more gently, more steadily, more joyfully. And that brings us to the fourth truth. Giving without limits will exhaust you in ways you can no longer afford. For most of your life, you've given endlessly, to your children, your spouse, your family, your work, your community. You've given your time, your money, your energy, your sleep, even your dreams. Giving has always been part of your identity. But as you age, your emotional and physical resources shift. You simply cannot continue offering yourself at the same rate without draining your own well-being. People do not stop taking because they are cruel. They stop taking when you learn to protect your limits. If you continue giving everything you have, others will assume you have more to give. And when you collapse, they may not understand why. This is why boundaries are no longer optional. They are essential. Boundaries are not walls that push loved ones away. They are gentle lines that safeguard your energy. It's time to stop feeling guilty for saying no. You have spent decades earning the right to rest, to enjoy quiet moments, to choose how you want to use your time. Not everyone needs or deserves the same level of access to your heart. A wise elder gives with intention, not obligation. Share your kindness, but not at the cost of your emotional stability. Offer support, but not at the expense of your health. Keep some of your strength for yourself. You've earned the right to protect your own well-being just as fiercely as you once protected others. As we move forward, another truth reveals itself, one that many seniors quietly struggle with, even if they don't speak about it often. Loneliness becomes dangerous in old age, not because you lack people around you, but because you may lack connection, purpose, or the feeling of being truly seen. You can be surrounded by others and still feel alone. You can live in a full house and still feel invisible. And that kind of loneliness slowly weakens the spirit. In your younger years, you were busy, working, raising children, building a life. Your days were filled with tasks, responsibilities, and interactions that happened almost automatically. But as the years pass and your schedule quiets, an emptiness can creep in. Loneliness doesn't just make you sad, it makes you vulnerable. It can cloud judgment, making you trust people you shouldn't, welcome relationships that drain you, or cling to individuals who don't have your best interests at heart. Loneliness can create a hunger for companionship so deep that it becomes easy for the wrong people to take advantage. But there is a beautiful truth hidden inside this challenge. Loneliness is not cured by simply being around others. It is healed through meaningful engagement, with life, with purpose, with connection that feeds your soul. When you immerse yourself in things that light up your spirit, loneliness loses its grip. Spend time in nature, let the sun warm your face, listen to the birds. Join small community groups, explore gentle hobbies, pray, meditate, learn new skills, anything that makes you feel alive again. Purpose transforms the heart, and a heart filled with purpose becomes unshakable, no longer swayed by emotional hunger or the influence of people who do not deserve space in your life. And this leads us to a truth that too many elders discover the hard way. Your money becomes a target as you age. People see gray hair and assume you're easy to manipulate. Many seniors lose their lifelong savings not because they are unwise, but because they are too kind, too trusting, too willing to help. There are people, sometimes even family, who don't hesitate to pressure, guilt, or manipulate you into giving more than you can afford. Others may present themselves as helpers, advisors, friends, or even romantic interests, only to slowly chip away at your financial security. Your money is not just money. It represents your security, your dignity, and your independence. It represents years, decades, of sacrifice, work, and discipline. At this stage of life, financial stability is one of your strongest protections. Without it, you become dependent on others, and dependency can open the door to mistreatment or stress that you do not deserve. This is why you must safeguard your finances with the same care you give to your health. You are not responsible for solving everyone's problems. You are not required to hand out money just to keep the peace or avoid conflict. You are not obligated to fund the lifestyles or choices of others. Make decisions slowly, thoughtfully. Do not let anyone rush you or pressure you. And most importantly, remember that preserving your savings doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. Securing your future is an act of self-respect, and you are fully entitled to it. As we continue, the truth becomes even simpler yet more profound. Your peace is priceless. At this stage of life, peace is the highest form of wealth you can possess. It is more valuable than money, more valuable than possessions, more valuable than arguments you might win. Your peace is the very foundation of your well-being. When you allow conflict, drama, and stress to seep into your days, your body reacts, your mind tightens, and your sleep suffers. All these things create burdens you no longer need to carry. There comes a time when protecting your peace becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. You no longer need to explain yourself to people who don't listen. You no longer need to prove yourself to those who don't value you. You no longer need to involve yourself in fights, debates, or emotional storms that drain your strength. Silence often brings more wisdom than arguing ever could. Calmness protects you far more than trying to please others. Let your home be a sanctuary. Let your heart be a place of stillness. Simplify your surroundings, choose calm company, and release the pressure to be everything for everyone. Peace is a treasure that, once guarded, transforms the quality of your days in extraordinary ways. Now, we come to the final truth, one that ties all the others together with gentle clarity. Your time is sacred, and how you use it matters more than ever before. When we are young, time feels endless. We waste it, rush through it, ignore it. But as the years pass, time becomes a different kind of companion, more precious, more delicate, more meaningful. You begin to realize that every day carries weight, every hour holds value, and every moment deserves intention. This is why you must choose carefully where your time goes. Not everyone deserves your hours. Not every obligation is worth keeping. Not every request is worth your energy. You've spent a lifetime giving to others, working hard, fulfilling duties, and meeting expectations. Now, your time deserves to be spent on what nourishes your soul. Invest it in joy, in rest, in people who make you feel valued, in moments that bring warmth to your heart. Release the pressure to constantly be available. Let go of obligations that drain you more than they fulfill you. Focus on what feels meaningful, whether it's learning something new, reconnecting with old passions, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea and feeling grateful for the day. Your time is not just time, it is life itself. And you have every right to spend it in ways that bring peace, comfort, and satisfaction. As we reach the end of our journey together today, I want you to remember something important. Age does not weaken you. What weakens you is the lack of awareness, the lack of boundaries, and the habits that no longer serve the person you've become. But when awareness arrives, even slowly, strength returns. You begin to stand taller, make clearer decisions, and protect yourself with the wisdom you've earned. These 8 truths are not warnings meant to frighten you. They are tools meant to empower you. They are reminders that your later years can be filled with dignity, clarity, purpose, and deep inner peace. You have every right to live these years on your own terms, with your heart unburdened and your mind steady. Let your days ahead be shaped not by fear, but by wisdom. Not by regret, but by acceptance. Not by loneliness, but by meaningful connection. Choose the people, activities, and habits that make your life feel lighter. Release what no longer belongs. And trust that you are exactly where you need to be, continuing your journey with strength, clarity, and grace. Take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and allow these insights to gently guide you forward. Your journey continues beautifully.